Всем привет, мы продолжаем проходить Call of Juarez, Gunslinger. Мы все следуем за серым волком.
I followed it as I desperately needed to find out what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me. But it was like that son of a bitch disappeared into thin air.
Ой, ну, да вы шутите.
Never did find him. And never did collect my goddamn bounty.
Ну, когда-то придет время, он найдет нас.
Thank you, darling. It's interesting how the truth can sometimes seem might malleable, depending upon your point of view.
Like how those dime novels make you out to be something you're not?
Jack, don't be starting trouble.
No, he's right. They do tend to exaggerate.
Did they exaggerate your part in taking down the Daltons?
Well, I was there in the flesh, boy, so I saw what happened firsthand.
Эпизод 6. Далтон. Братья Далтоны.
Those Daltons were lawmen once, before they all went bad, robbing banks and trains clear across the territory. Until Coffeeville, of course. I was one of the citizens who took up arms that day.
Fighting on the side of right?
I did my best, sir. We all did.
Что, давайте сражаться на стороне добра. Серый волк, шаман Апачи, сделал Сайласу таинственное предостережение, предупредив об опасности утонуть в яде злобы и что-то там не успел. Всегда собирайте боеприпасы убитых врагов. Да что ты, если это автоподбор, то спасибо за. Я и без вас знаю.
It was early morning. One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob two banks at the same time. Two banks on the same damn street.
Мне нравится.
Story was Bob Dalton's girl was always writing him about how he had no ambition.
Конечно, темп стрельбы не очень, но зато выглядят обалденно. Мне такие. Блин, хочу револьвер. Настоящий. Какой-нибудь вот такой, классный. Позолоченный.
Their first mistake was pulling a job in their own damn hometown. The boys grew up in Coffeeville, so everybody knew him. The bank teller tricked them, telling them the time lock on the safe wouldn't open till 9:30. Well, that gave the locals enough time to prepare an ambush for those sons of bitches.
Для им хватает одного выстрела с этого револьвера. Но патронов, конечно, да. Проблемы будут. Это они уже есть. Чё, я просто вышибить дверь. Хотел вышибить дверь.
The brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows they had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently.
Не так рассказал. Да, придется пересказывать.
High noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the rooftop across the street.
Get ready, boys. They're gonna make a move.
The lawmen had been tracking the Daltons for months, and now they finally had them dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. This man had no intention of letting the Daltons slip away. The marshals tried to get the Daltons to surrender.
They'll give up eventually. We just gotta wait to suck the bitches out.
This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far too proud to ever lay down their guns. He went in there alone to confront those criminals. One of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, where do you think you're going, dumbass? That rifle's mine.
But he paid him
Ну, я
no
профи.
mind. He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank. Then he figured out how to hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting.
Я даже не знаю откуда.
From above. Fortunately, a water tower was right there. A moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did.
Ну, давайте попробуем застать их врасплох. Уродов этих.
It was brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild country.
Нам сюда?
We've got company.
Heroic men like him, who did what other men couldn't or wouldn't to make this country free. Like Jim Bowie and Davy Crockett, who died defending the Alamo.
Не-не-не, я хочу револьвер. Ни на что не поменяю.
Is that Silas Greaves? Son of a bitch! I ain't backing down. You can't hide from me. Brother, I'm gonna make you pay for that. Over there!
А, бля.
That's Silas Greaves. What the hell?
Blam! Blam! He came away victorious, taking down those thieving Daltons.
А какая разница? Все равно их убил даже в том же месте.
Silas Greaves. And when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
Sorry, kid, but that just wasn't the way it happened.
Ну твою ж мать. Еще раз.
It was early evening, not high noon.
Класс.
I was late to the party and Coffeyville was already up in arms. The Daltons blew up a safe and were all set to hightail it out of there. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies. I had been tracking those jokers for months, waiting for them to do something reckless. And finally, they did. Those stupid bastards decided to rob two banks at the same time in the same town where everybody knew them. But they still had friends in Coffeyville.
Так, в итоге, куда мне идти-то?
And those friends came after me like a pack of wild dogs, tooth and nail.
Кажется, не так уж это и просто.
From all directions.
Где эти Далтоны? Надрать задницу кому-то. А, сори. Своего.
They knew the town better than I did. And to top it off, I found myself in the middle of another shootout entirely.
Did the Daltons hole up in somebody's house?
No, it was the Smiths, I believe. They were cousins of the Daltons. And they were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons. Which wasn't any surprise, because those two families have been feuding forever. And since the Joneses are related to the Browns, they shot at the Smiths, pissing off the Heimhoffers, whose daughter recently married a Smith. Well, bullets were flying every which way as all the old feuds in Kansas caught fire all at once. There was a hell of a lot of pissed off people in Coffeyville that day. But that's just the way life is sometimes. Shit happens.
Так, тут ни секретов, ничего. Наверное, сюда. А, тут уже все, прибрано. Ага. Ладно.
The Dalton boys knew I would never give up. Those Daltons
Да они
weren't
вообще
the
знали
sharpest
меня, кто я
knives in the
такой.
drawer, but they always stood together. They set a trap to slow me down and allow at least 2 of them to escape. The third brother stayed behind to plant me, just in case that trap of theirs didn't work.
Так, ну от этого я увернулся, можно сказать. Я даже преуспел. Поэтому было так все просто.
The youngest, and he decided to stand his ground and face me down.
I ain't afraid of you, Silas Greaves. This is where it ends for you.
He was determined to protect his brothers. And I understood how he felt. Taking me on all by his lonesome wasn't exactly a recipe for a long life.
Слушайте, я не знаю. Что он какой-то, я не знаю, блин. Громила. Или это он поменьше куда.
I'm gonna tear you apart.
Все, готов.
But Emmett Dalton survived the robbery in Coffeyville. He's the only Dalton who did.
They say he was shot 23 times.
Well, Dwight, who do you think put all those damn holes in him?
Падла.
But I have to admit, that boy had grit.
Так, ну одного только Далтона получается. И то он вроде выжил, это о нем вроде бы говорили. Другие убежали.
It took me a couple of days to track the Daltons down.
They can't get away with this.
And in that time, a whole posse of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand.
We'll track him to the ends of the earth.
They seemed as determined as me to find those outlaws.
Затопленный город,
But as
интересно.
we headed into those swamps, it was like I had my own private army. There was no way those boys were getting away this time.
It was early fall, right? Beautiful time of year. At least you had the weather on your side.
Not by my recollection. It was damp and foggy as hell.
Ну, да, вот вам и туман сразу появился.
It was tough to stay on a true course, so we kept an eye out for landmarks.
Так, здесь может быть секрет. А нет, я думал, может пролезу сюда, мало ли. Все может быть.
It was autumn. The maple trees were in full color, red as blood. The rains that year were torrential, so the whole area was flooded.
Ага,
The
короче,
vigilantes had spread
указывать
out
нам здесь,
wide.
куда идти не
Pretty soon
будет.
I couldn't see anybody.
Парам-пам-пара. Бля.
Except for some bitches ahead of me wanting to do me harm. So I had to face them alone. I wondered why my compatriots didn't come running when they heard the shots.
Странно, что здесь секрета нету. Можно было его сюда засунуть.
So did you find the Daltons?
Not yet. But I did have the questionable pleasure of meeting a few of their friends.
Так, бесполезно. Один патрон, я его выстрелил.
boys had established quite a reputation by that time, so they attracted all manner of riffraff to their cause.
Конечно, грабить банки и тому подобное.
Point being, I was under serious attack.
Так, в принципе, это тоже можно подобрать. Там вроде бы просто, если подрываешь, дают очки. А, вот он. А, это стрелял дробовиком. Я думал уже Далтон.
And my reinforcements was nowhere to be seen.
Ну, как всегда, один. Охотник за головами. Одиночка. Так, я слышал еще тут пара штук, наверное. Ну, вроде все. Да, если музыка кончилась, значит все. Опа! У нас одно очко навыка. Крученная рукоятка и облегченная конструкция улучшают скорость прицеливания и удобство этого пистолета, а крепкий ствол позволяет использовать пули с зернистым порохом, что увеличивает его убойную силу. Плюс 30 к урону и 25 к скорости прицеливания. Ну. Он уже, короче, сделан. Окей. Рейнджер, меткий стрелок на больших расстояниях, звездолов боец ближнего боя. Нет, скорее на дальних, потому что у меня с ним проблемы. Прицеливание через мушку замедляет время. Не спешите во время прицеливания, когда вы смотрите через мышку винтовки или пистолета. Ух ты, круто. Давайте посмотрим. Ну да, замедляется. Не сильно, конечно, но... Класс.
A barn
Лучше, чем ничего.
materialized as if right before my eyes. I scrambled up top to get a better view. But just ended up falling inside.
So, how did you get out?
The barn doors was open. About right then, I saw some suspicious characters running for the bushes. Of course, I followed them.
Не особо и замедляется,
That
честно говоря.
goddamn swamp was like a goddamn maze, and pretty soon I had no goddamn idea where I was. Steve? So I just started walking, and pretty soon...
Oh.
Steve? Steve?
Huh? Oh, no, I'm listening.
Indians surrounded me from all sides.
Indians? There were Indians?
No. I just wanted to make sure Steve was paying attention. Now, where was I?
You were following the Daltons through a swamp?
That's right. See, Steve? Dwight's paying attention.
No, I'm listening. I was just resting my eyes.
So, where was I?
The Daltons.
Right. See, there's a reason so many outlaw gangs are made up of brothers. Being a brother is a very sacred thing. It's a bond like no other.
Ну, судя Судя по повязкам, я иду правильно.
So did you ever find the damn Daltons?
Not yet. But I did find a few of their cousins. You Kansans breed like rabbits. More Smiths or Heimhoffers or who knows what.
Вау.
But hell,
Вот так вот.
what's more important than family?
Круто.
I bet Ben knows what
Вы
I'm
видели,
talking about.
вообще такой... Сейчас был килл-стрик прям. Такой прям... Вау, такой... А, нет. Такой вот. Помру, сейчас помру, не надо. Ну тут классно стрелять. Просто правда, что ураганный геймплей прям. Не надо меня убивать. Мне это не по душе. Уже хотел в бревно выстрелить. Все, что стоит, во все стреляем. А, бегун. А, или... Не знаю, ну какой-то здоровый, я думал. Мини-босс.
I knew those Dalton boys were out there somewhere, standing together against anyone who would threaten them.
Я не знаю, сюда нам. Мне кажется, сюда.
And that's when I saw it. A goddamn steamboat.
A steamboat in a swamp?
Yeah, Steve, but this wasn't much more than a wreck, really.
But how'd a damn steamboat end up in the swamps? Guess it floated off during the flood of '89.
Now, was it a stern wheeler or a side wheeler?
What? Does that really make a difference, Steve? It was a steamboat with a goddamn army on board. It was then that a fusillade of bullets come raining down from on high, and those vigilantes who accompanied me weren't anywhere to be found. But among those men that were shooting at me...
Я не знаю, что делать. Мне скрыться негде, меня убивают. Так, давайте продолжим, наверное, лучше в другой серии. То есть в следующей серии. Подписывайтесь на канал, пишите комментарии, ставьте лайки. Всем пока.